Establishment of the Mughal rule. 10 notes. In the previous chapter you studied about the establishment and consolidation of Delhi Sultanate, 1206 to 1526. During this period the rulers were Turks and Afghans. You must have noticed that throughout the Sultanate period there was constant struggle between the various Turkish groups and Afghans. The disintegration of the Delhi Sultanate led to the emergence of various regional powers. Therefore, when Babur invaded India in 1526, the central power of the Sultanate had substantially weakened and there were a number of independent kingdoms. The Delhi and adjoining regions were under Sultan Ibrahim Lodi. Other important kingdoms were Gujarat, Malwa, Bengal, Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Berar, Mewar and Vijayanagar Empire in the south. Besides, a large number of smaller autonomous chiefs were also ruling in different parts of the country. In this lesson you will study about the conquest of India by a new ruling dynasty, the Mughals. The Mughals were led by an able military commander and administrator from Central Asia named Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur. His successors were successful in establishing an all-India empire gradually. We will study the details of this process of conquests and consolidation in this lesson. Let us begin with the advent of Babur in India. Objectives. After studying this lesson you would be able to know the circumstances under which Babur invaded India. Describe the reasons for the success of the Mughals against Indian rulers. List the challenges faced by Humayun after Babur's death. Analyze the circumstances that led to the defeat of Humayun and revival of Afghan power. Describe the events leading to recapture of India by Humayun. Give an account of the expansion and consolidation of the Mughal Empire under Akbar. Describe the territorial expansion up to the reign of Aurangzeb and analyze the challenges faced by the Mughal Empire in India. 10.1 Advent of Babur, 1526 to 30. Babur ascended the throne at Farghana, a small principality in Transoxiana, in 1494 at the age of 12 after the death of his father. The situation in Central Asia was not 156 history. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Stable and Babur had to face a lot of resistance from the nobility itself. Although he was able to capture Samarkand, but very soon he had to retreat because of desertion of some of his nobles. He also lost Farghana to the Uzbeks. Thus, the early years of Babur's rule in Central Asia were tough. During this whole period he had plans of moving towards Hindustan. And finally from 1517 onwards he made decisive moves towards India. A few developments in India at that time also helped him to act on plans of invading India. Timurids. Babur traced his lineage from Timur, the great conqueror of Central Asia, and to Chengiz Khan, the distinguished conqueror. From mother's side he was a descendant of Mongols and from father's side the great commander Timur. Because of the lineage of Timur, the Mughals are also referred as Timurids. The unstable political situation in India after Sikandar Lodi's death convinced him of political discontentment and disorder in the Lodi Empire. Meanwhile, there was conflict between some Afghan chiefs with Ibrahim Lodi. Prominent among them was Daulat Khan Lori, the governor of a large part of Punjab. The Rajput king of Mewar, Rana Sanga, was also asserting his authority against Ibrahim Lodi and was trying to increase his area of influence in North India. Both of them sent word to Babur to invade India. Invitations from Rana Sanga and Daulat Khan Lori might have encouraged Babur's ambitions. Babur was successful in capturing Bhira, 1519 to 1520, Sialkot, 1520, and Lahore, 1524, in Punjab. Finally, Ibrahim Lodi and Babur's forces met at Panipat in 1526. Babur's soldiers were less in number, but the organization of his army was superior. Ibrahim Lodi was defeated in the Battle of Panipat. Success at the Battle of Panipat was a great achievement of Babur's military tactics. Babur had an active army of only 12,000 soldiers while Ibrahim's army had an estimated strength of 100,000 soldiers. When face to face in the battlefield, Babur's tactics were unique. He effectively applied the Rumi, Ottoman, method of warfare. He encircled Ibrahim's army from two flanks. In the center, his cavalry mounted attack with arrows and gunfires by expert Ottoman gunners. The trenches and barricades provided adequate defense against march of the enemy. The Afghan army of Ibrahim Lodi suffered heavy casualties. Ibrahim Lodi died in the battlefield. Babur was thus able to take control of Delhi and Agra and got the rich treasure of Lodis. This money was distributed among Babur's commanders and soldiers. Victory at Panipat provided Babur a firm ground to consolidate his conquests. But now he was faced with a few problems. His nobles and commanders were eager to return to Central Asia because they did not like the climate of India. Culturally also, they felt very alienated. Rajputs were rallying around under the leadership of Rana Sanga, the king of Mewar, and wanted to expel the Mughal forces. The Afghans, though defeated at Panipat, were still a formidable force in eastern parts of UP, Bihar and Bengal. They were regrouping to reclaim their lost powers. To begin with, Babur convinced his companions and nobles to stay back and help in consolidating the conquered territories. After succeeding in this difficult task, he sent his son Humayun to face the eastern Afghans. Rana Sanga of Mewar succeeded to 157. Module 2, Medieval India. Notes. History. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Muster support of a large number of Rajput chiefs. Prominent among these were Jalore, Siroi, Dungarpur, Amber, Merta etc. Medini Rai of Chanderi, Hasan Khan of Mewat and Mahmud Lodi, younger son of Sikandar Lodi, also joined Rana with their forces. Possibly, Rana Sanga expected Babur to return to Kabul. Babur's decision to stay back must have given a big jolt to Rana Sanga's ambitions. Babur was also fully aware of the fact that it would be impossible for him to consolidate his position in India unless he shattered Rana's power. The forces of Babur and Rana Sanga met at Khamwa, a place near Fatehpur Sikari. Rana Sanga was defeated in 1527 and once again the superior military tactics of Babur succeeded. With the defeat of Rana, the biggest challenge in North India was shattered. Though the Mewar Rajputs received great shock at Khamwa, Medini Rai at Malwa was still threatening to challenge the authority of Babur. In spite of great valor with which the Rajputs fought in Chanderi, 1528, Babur faced little difficulty in overcoming Medini Rai. With his defeat, resistance across Rajputana was completely shattered. But Babur had to tackle the Afghans. The Afghans had surrendered Delhi, but Map 10.1 Early conquests of the Mughals. Bhera, Sialkot, Lahore 158 History. Module 2, Medieval India. Notes. Establishment of the Mughal rule. They were still powerful in the east, Bihar and parts of Jaunpur. The success against the Afghans and Rajputs at Panipat and Khamwa was very significant, but the resistance was still present. However, these victories were a step forward in the direction of the establishment of Mughal Empire. Babur died in 1530. Still, the rulers of Gujarat, Malwa and Bengal enjoyed substantial military power and were not suppressed. It was left to Humayun to face these regional powers. INTEXT questions 10, 1-1. Why did Babur invade India? 2. What was Babur's strategy at the Battle of Panipat? 3. What problems did Babur face after the Battle of Panipat? 4. Who were the two rulers from Rajputana defeated by Babur? 2.2 Humayun's retreat and Afghan revival, 1530 to 1540. After the death of Babur in 1530, his son Humayun succeeded him. The situation under Humayun was quite desperate. The main problems faced by Humayun were I. The newly conquered territories and administration was not consolidated. E. Unlike Babur, Humayun did not command the respect and esteem of Mughal nobility. E. The Chagatai nobles were not favorably inclined towards him, and the Indian nobles, who had joined Babur's service, deserted the Mughals at Humayun's accession. IV. He also confronted the hostility of the Afghans, mainly Sher Khan in Bihar on the one hand and Bahadur Shah, the ruler of Gujarat, on the other. V. As per the Timurid tradition, Humayun had to share power with his brothers. The newly established Mughal Empire had two centers of power. Humayun was in control of Delhi, Agra and central India, while his brother Kamran had Afghanistan and Punjab under him. Humayun felt that the Afghans were a bigger threat. He wanted to avoid a combined opposition of Afghans from east and the west. At that time Bahadur Shah had occupied Bhilsa, Raisen, Ujjain and Gagrong and was consolidating his power. While Humayun was besieging Chunar in the east, Bahadur Shah had started expanding towards Malwa and Rajputana. In such a situation, Humayun was forced to rush back to Agra, 1532-33. Continuing his expansionist policy, Bahadur Shah attacked Chittor in 1534. Chittor had strategic advantage as it could provide a strong base. It would have helped his expansion in Rajasthan, particularly towards Ajmer, Nagaur and Ranthambore. Humayun captured Mandu and camped there because he thought that from here he can block Bahadur Shah's return to Gujarat. Humayun's long absence from Agra resulted in rebellions in Doab and Agra, and he had to rush back. Mandu was now left under the charge of Mirza Askari, the brother of Humayun. During the period when Humayun was busy in Gujarat to check Bahadur Shah, Sher Shah started consolidating himself in Bihar and Bengal. 159. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. History. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Rise of Sher Shah Suri Farid, who later came to be called Sher Khan and subsequently Sher Shah, was son of a Jagirdar under the kingdom of Jaunpur. His father Hasan Khan Sur held the Jagir of Sasaram in Bihar during the rule of Lodis. Sher Shah helped his father in the administration of his Jagir. Later he developed differences with his father and left him. He served under Afghan nobles. After the death of his father in 1524, he was given his father's Jagir by Ibrahim Lodi. He had to enter into conflict with his family to take possession of the Jagir. He very effectively managed the Jagir of his father. He also acquired great military and administrative skills. His capabilities made him the leader of Afghans. He gradually increased his influence and defeated Sultan Mahmud Shah of Bengal. He emerged as the most powerful military commander in the eastern provinces. Sher Shah continued consolidating his position in Bihar. He had to enter into a number of conflicts with prominent Afghan nobles in Bihar and ruler of Bengal. He finally succeeded in establishing himself as the most powerful Afghan chief in eastern India. Sher Shah wished to establish himself as the undisputed Afghan leader. He invaded the Bengal army and defeated them in the Battle of Surajgarh. Sher Shah could. Map 10.2, Empire of Sher Shah 160 History. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Extract quite a wealth from Bengal which helped him to raise a bigger army. Now he started attacking Mughal territories of Banaras and beyond. Humayun was quite suspicious of Sher Shah's ambitions but failed to estimate his capabilities. He asked his governor of Jaunpur, Hindu Beg, to check the movements of Sher Shah. Meanwhile, Sher Shah captured Gaur, 1538, the capital of Bengal. While Humayun was moving towards Bengal, Sher Shah took control of route to Agra, making communication difficult for Humayun. On the other hand, Hind al-Mirza, brother of Humayun, who was supposed to provide supplies for his army, declared his independence. Now, Humayun decided to return to Chunar. When he reached Chausa, 1539, he encamped on the western side of the river Karmanasa. Sher Shah attacked Humayun at the bank of the river and defeated him. Sher Shah declared himself as an independent king. Humayun could escape, but most of his army was destroyed. With difficulty he could reach Agra. His brother Kamran moved out of Agra towards Lahore, leaving Humayun with small force. Sher Shah now moved towards Agra. Humayun also came forward with his army, and the armies of the two clashed at Kannauj. Humayun was defeated badly in the Battle of Kannauj, 1540. 10.3 Second Afghan Empire, 1540 to 1555. Sher Shah. As already discussed, the first Afghan kingdom under the Lodis was replaced by the Mughals under Babur in 1526. After a gap of 14 years, Sher Shah succeeded in establishing the Afghan rule again in India in 1540. Sher Shah and his successors ruled for 15 years. This period is known as the period of Second Afghan Empire. The founder of this Afghan rule, Sher Khan, was a great tactician and able military commander. We have already discussed his conflict with Humayun. After defeating Humayun, he became sovereign ruler in the year 1540 and assumed the title of Sher Shah. Sher Shah followed Humayun on his flight till Sindh in the northwest. After expelling Humayun, he started consolidating his position in northern and eastern India. He defeated and conquered Malwa in 1542, which was followed by Chanderi. In Rajasthan, he led campaigns against Marwar, Ranthambore, Nagaur, Ajmer, Merta, Jodhpur and Bikaner. He defeated rebellious Afghans in Bengal. By 1545 he had established himself as the supreme ruler from Sindh and Punjab to whole of Rajputana in the west and Bengal in the east. Now he turned towards Bundelkhand. Here, while besieging the fort of Kalinjar, he died in 1545 in an accidental blast of gunpowder. During his brief rule, Sher Shah introduced very important changes in administration and revenue system. The most important ones were judicial system. Sher Shah was succeeded by his son Islam Shah. Islam Shah had to face a number of conflicts with his brother Adil Khan and many Afghan nobles. He died in 1553. The Afghan Empire was substantially weakened. Humayun saw an opportunity and moved towards India. He again captured his lost kingdom by 1555 and ended the Second Afghan Empire. In 1555, Humayun conquered Agra and Delhi and established himself as the Emperor of India. Before he could consolidate his position, he died after falling from the stairs of the library at Sher Mandal, in Delhi, in 1556. 161. Module 2, Medieval India. Notes. History. Establishment of the Mughal rule. INTEXT questions 10.21. Why did Humayun fail to defeat Sher Shah? 2. How did Sher Khan emerge as the leader of Afghans? 3. List the territories which were brought by Sher Shah under his rule. 4. List 2 important achievements of Sher Shah. 10.4 The Mughal Empire from Akbar to Aurangzeb. Akbar was only 13 years old at the time of Humayun's death. When his father died, Akbar was at Kalanur in Punjab, and therefore his coronation took place in Kalanur itself in 1556. It was his tutor and Humayun's favorite and confidant Bairam Khan, who served as the regent of the Mughal emperor from 1556 to 1560. He became the Wakil of the kingdom with the title of Khan-i-Khanan. One of the major achievements of his regency period was the defeat of Hemu and the Afghan forces in the Second Battle of Panipat in 1556, who were posing a serious threat to the Mughal Empire. Regency of Bairam Khan 1556 to 1560. Bairam Khan remained at the helm of affairs of the Mughal Empire for almost 4 years, which is popularly known as period of Bairam Khan's regency. During this phase he appointed his favorite nobles on important positions. Bairam Khan emerged as the most powerful noble. He became very arrogant. A group of nobles were opposed to him. They managed to influence Akbar also. By this time Akbar also wanted to assume full control. He removed Bairam Khan. Bairam Khan revolted and was defeated. Akbar pardoned him and asked him to retire. He decided to go to Makkah for pilgrimage. He was killed by an Afghan near Ahmedabad. His son later on became an influential noble under Akbar and is famous as Abdur Rahim Khan-i Khana. Akbar started a policy of expansion after overcoming initial problems and consolidating his hold on the throne. The major political powers spread in different parts of the country were I. The Rajputs, who were spread throughout the country as independent chiefs and kings, and were concentrated mainly in Rajasthan. E. The Afghans held political control mainly in Gujarat, Bihar and Bengal. E. Khandesh, Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda and few other kingdoms in South India and Deccan were quite powerful. IV. Kabul and Kandhar, though ruled by Mughal factions, were hostile towards Akbar. Akbar through a systematic policy started the task of expanding his empire. The first step that Akbar took after the dismissal of Bairam Khan was to put an end to the conflict within the nobility. He demonstrated great diplomatic skills and organizational 162 history. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Capabilities in handling it. Akbar started his policy of expansion with central India. In 1559–60 the first expedition was sent to capture Gwalior before moving towards Malwa. Malwa in central India was ruled by Baz Bahadur. Akbar deputed Adham Khan to lead the expedition against it. Baz Bahadur was defeated and fled towards Burhanpur. Gondwana, an independent state in central India ruled by Rani Durgavati, widow of Dalpat Shah, was conquered and annexed to the Mughal Empire in 1564. Rajasthan. It seems that Akbar was fully aware of the importance of Rajput kingdoms and wanted them as allies in his ambition of establishing a large empire. He tried to win over the Rajputs wherever possible and inducted them into Mughal service. He also entered into matrimonial alliances with the Rajput rulers like Bharmal. Raja Bharmal of Amber was the first to enter into alliance with Akbar. The Rajput kingdoms like Merta and Jodhpur were also occupied without much resistance. However, Maharana Pratap, the ruler of Mewar, posed most serious challenge to the Mughal emperor and did not submit before Akbar. After a prolonged struggle and siege of the fort of Chittor, Akbar succeeded in defeating the Mewar forces. A large number of Rajput soldiers got killed in the war. However, it could not be fully subdued and some resistance from Mewar side continued for a long time. After the fall of Chittor, Ranthambore and Kalia were captured. Marwar, Bikaner and Jaisalmer also submitted to Akbar. By 1570 Akbar had captured almost the whole of Rajasthan. The most important achievement of Akbar was that in spite of the subjugation of the whole of Rajasthan there was no hostility between the Rajputs and the Mughals. We will discuss reasons for it in a separate section in this lesson. Afghans, Gujarat, Bihar and Bengal. Akbar's campaign against Afghans started with Gujarat in 1572. One of the princes, Itimad Khan, had invited Akbar to come and conquer it. Akbar himself marched to Ahmedabad. The town was captured without any serious resistance. Surat with a strong fortress offered some resistance but was also captured. In a short time most of the principalities of Gujarat were brought under his control. Akbar organized Gujarat into a province and placed it under Mirza Aziz Koka and returned to capital. Within 6 months, various rebellious groups came together and revolted against the Mughal rule, and the Mughal governor had to cede a number of territories. The leaders of rebellion were Ikhtia-ul-Mulk and Muhammad Hussain Mirza. Akbar got the news of rebellion in Agra and he set out for Ahmedabad. Akbar marched at a rapid pace and managed to reach Ahmedabad in 10 days. The emperor quickly suppressed the rebellion. Bengal and Bihar, which were under the control of the Afghans, were paid attention after the Gujarat expedition. In 1574, Akbar along with Munim Khan I-Khanan marched towards Bihar. In a short time, Hajipur and Patna were captured and Gaur, Bengal, was also taken away. With this, the independent rule of Bengal was ended in 1576. By 1592, the Mughal Mansabdar Raja Man Singh also brought the whole of Orissa under the Mughal rule. A series of conflicts arose in some regions of the Mughal Empire in 1581. Bengal, Bihar, Gujarat and the northwest were main centers of unrest. The Afghans were at the root of these problems since they were overthrown everywhere by the Mughals. Apart from this, Akbar's policy of strict administration of Jagirs was also responsible for this. A new policy was adopted, according to which the Jagirdars were asked to submit the accounts of the Jagirs. This created dissatisfaction and Jagirdars rose in revolt. Masoom Khan Kabuli, Roshan Beg, Mirza Sharafuddin and Arab Bahadur were the main leader of rebels. Imperial officers posted there tried to crush the rebellion. 163. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. History. Establishment of the Mughal rule. But failed. Akbar immediately sent a large force under Raja Todar Mal and Sheikh Ferhat Bakshi. A little later, Aziz Koka and Shahbaz Khan were also sent to help Todar Mal. The rebels declared Akbar's brother Hakim Mirza, who was in Kabul, as their king. But soon the Mughal forces were able to successfully crush the rebellion in Bihar, Bengal and adjoining regions. Punjab and northwest. In the Punjab, Mirza Hakim was creating problems for Akbar and he attacked Lahore. Hakim Mirza was expecting a number of Mughal officers to join him, but no large group joined him. Akbar decided to march towards Lahore himself. Hakim Mirza immediately retreated and Akbar controlled the whole region. He gave first priority to organize the protection of northwest frontiers. After this he marched towards Kabul and conquered the territory. Akbar gave the charge of Kabul to his sister Bakhtunisa Begum. Later on, Raja Man Singh was appointed governor of Kabul and it was given to him in Jagir. Another important development in the northwest region was the rebellion of Roshan-I, who captured the road between Kabul and Hindustan. Roshan-I was a sect established by a soldier who was called Pir Roshan-I in the region. His son Jalala was heading the sect, who had large following. Akbar appointed Zain Khan as commander of a strong force to suppress the Roshan-I and establish Mughal control in the region. Sayyid Khan Gakhar and Raja Birbal were also sent with separate forces to help Jan Khan. In one of the operations, Birbal was killed with most of his forces. Akbar was greatly disturbed with the death of his trusted friend Birbal. He deputed Raja Todar Mal and Raja Man Singh to suppress the rebellion and they were successful in defeating the Roshan-I. Akbar for a long time had his eyes set on conquering Kashmir. It was annexed to the Mughal Empire in 1586. Some pockets in Sindh in the northwest were still independent. In 1590, Akbar appointed Khan I Khanna as governor of Multan and asked him to subdue Balochis, a tribe in the region, and conquer the whole territory. First, Thatta was annexed and placed as a sarkar in the Subar of Multan. The conflict with Balochis in the adjoining regions continued. Finally, by the year 1595, the complete supremacy of Mughals over northwest region was established. Deccan. After 1590, Akbar gave shape to a Deccan policy to bring these states under Mughal control. During this period, the Deccan states were facing internal tensions and regular conflicts. In 1591, Akbar sent offers to the Deccan states asking them to accept Mughal sovereignty, but there was not much success. Now Akbar decided on a policy of aggression. The first expedition was dispatched to Ahmednagar under the command of Prince Murad and Abdul Rahim Khan Khanan. In 1595, the Mughal forces invaded Ahmednagar. Its ruler Chand Bibi decided to face the Mughals. She approached Ibrahim Adil Shah of Bijapur and Qutub Shah of Golconda for help, but with no success. A fierce conflict followed. After heavy losses on both sides, a treaty was worked out and Chand Bibi ceded Berar to Mughals. After some time, Chand Bibi attacked Berar to take it back. At this point, Nizam Shahi, Kutab Shahi and Adil Shahi troops decided to present a joint front. The Mughals suffered heavy losses but could retain their position. Meanwhile, serious differences between Murad and Khan Khana weakened Mughal position. Akbar, therefore, recalled Khan Khanan and deputed Abul Fazl to Deccan. After Prince Murad's death in 1598, Prince Daniel and Khan Khanan were sent to Deccan. Ahmednagar was captured. Soon the Mughals also conquered Asirgarh and adjoining regions. Adil Shah of Bijapur also expressed allegiance and 164 history. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Offered his daughter in marriage to Prince Daniel. Meanwhile, Chand Bibi also died. Now Mughal territories in Deccan included Asirgarh, Burhanpur, Ahmednagar and Berar. Along with the expansion of territory, Akbar initiated the policy of absorbing the chieftains into Mughal nobility. His policy paid rich dividends to the empire. The Mughal emperor succeeded in getting the support of chieftains and their armies for new conquests. As part of Mughal nobility, their help was also available for administering a large empire. In addition, a friendly relationship with them ensured peace for the empire. The chieftains also benefited from this policy. Now they could retain their territories and administer them as they wished. In addition, they received Jagir and Mansab. You would learn about these administrative measures in Lesson 12 of Module 2. Often they got territories in Jagir bigger than their kingdoms. It also provided them security from enemies and rebellions. Many Rajput Mansabdars were assigned their own territories as Watan Jagir, which was hereditary and non-transferable. The territorial expansion under Akbar gave a definite shape to the Mughal Empire. In terms of territorial expansion, very little was added to the empire after Akbar. Some territories were added during the regions of Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb in the Deccan and northeast of India. Map 10.3 Extent of Mughal Empire under Akbar 165. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. History. Establishment of the Mughal rule. INTEXT Question 10.31. Why Akbar removed Bairam Khan? 2. Which were the main political powers in India at the time of Akbar's accession? 3. Which of the Rajput rulers posed challenge to Akbar and did not submit? 4. Name the lady ruler who fought with the Mughals. Which was the territory ruled by her? Jahangir and Shah Jahan. Jahangir decided to follow Akbar's expansionist policy in the Deccan. But Jahangir could achieve little success in it due to certain problems. He could not devote much attention in the crucial phase due to Khurram's revolt. The Mughal nobles were also involved in a number of intrigues and conflicts to gain some advantages from Deccan. During the first 3 years, the Deccan regained half of Balaghat and many districts of Ahmednagar. Malik Amba was the main ruler who managed to defeat Mughal forces and captured Berar, Balaghat and parts of Ahmednagar. The Mughals could not regain control of the lost territories. Meanwhile, Shah Jahan revolted against his father and became friends with Malik Ambar. Malik Ambar made an attempt to capture Ahmednagar. But failing there, he took away Solapur from Adil Shah and in alliance with Shah Jahan tried to capture Burhanpur but failed. Once peace was established between Jahangir and Shah Jahan, Malik Amba was also pacified. Malik Amba died in 1627 and was succeeded by his son Fath Khan as Wakil and Peshwa of the kingdom. Fath Khan was arrogant and during his time the conflict between the Deccans and other nobles grew. During the reign of Jahangir there was no addition to the Mughal territory in Deccan. In fact, the Deccani rulers weakened the Mughal authority in their states. Over-ambition of Malik Amba was an obstacle in the way of a joint front of the Deccan states. During the period between the death of Jahangir and the accession of Shah Jahan, the Mughal governor of the Deccan, Khan Jahan Lori, with the intention of securing help in times of necessity, gave away Balaghat to the Nizam Shah. After ascending the throne, Shah Jahan ordered Khan Jahan Lori to recover it, but as the latter failed, Shah Jahan recalled him to court. Khan Jahan turned hostile and rebelled. He took shelter with Nizam Shah. This infuriated Shah Jahan and he decided to follow aggressive policy towards the Deccan states. Shah Jahan's main concern was to recover the lost territories of the Deccan. He believed that independence of Ahmednagar was in the way of Mughal control in the Deccan. He decided to isolate Ahmednagar and win over Bijapur and Marathas. He was successful. Fath Khan, son of Malik Amba, also made peace with Mughals. Now Mahabat Khan was appointed governor of Deccan. But the conflict with Deccan states continued. Finally in 1636 treaties were signed with Bijapur and Golconda. The main points of agreement with Bijapur were 166 History. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. Establishment of the Mughal rule. I. Adil Shah accepted the Mughal suzerainty. He was to pay 20 lakh rupees as indemnity. He was not to interfere in the affairs of Golconda. IV. Mughal emperor was to arbitrate in case of any dispute between Bijapur and Golconda. V. Adil Shah, to help Mughals in conflict against Shahji Bhonsle Golconda, also made a separate treaty. According to this treaty, I. Golconda took oath of loyalty towards Mughal emperor. He agreed to include the name of the Mughal emperor in khutbah and exclude the name of Shah of Iran. E. Golconda agreed to pay 2 lakh hunts per year to the Mughals. The treaties ended the conflicts in the Deccan. The Mughals could expand their area of dominance to large parts of southern India. A distinct change in Mughal policy came towards 1656–57 when the treaties were ignored. Now, Shah Jahan asked Aurangzeb to conquer and annex the territories of Deccan kingdoms. It is argued by some historians that this change of policy was to exploit resources of the Deccan states for Mughals. However, this change did not benefit the Mughal Empire in any substantial way and created more problems for future. Aurangzeb believed in an aggressive policy towards Deccan. Prof. Satish Chandra identifies 3 distinct phases in his policy towards Deccan states. I. From 1658 to 1668 the focus was to get hold of the territories of Kalyani, Bidar and Parinda from Bijapur. During this phase attempts were made to secure the help of Deccan states against Marathas. The efforts were also made by Jai Singh, the governor of Deccan, to conquer Bijapur, but the efforts failed. E. From around 1668 to 1684 there was a shift in the policy. The death of Adil Shah of Bijapur, growing power of Shivaji and increasing influence of Akhana and Madana, 2 brothers in Golconda administration, affected the Mughal policy. Golconda tried to forge an alliance with Shivaji and Bijapur. Aurangzeb's efforts to contain Marathas were not very successful. The alliance, with minor shifts and frequent tensions, continued in some form or the other. Aurangzeb was not inclined to annex the Deccan states. E. In the third phase, 1684 to 87, Aurangzeb followed the policy of outright annexation of the Deccan states. Aurangzeb personally supervised the siege of Bijapur. By 1687 both Bijapur and Golconda along with the territory of Karnataka were annexed in the Mughal Empire. The conflict with Marathas continued from 1687 to 1707. Aurangzeb spent most of his time in Deccan and could manage to keep the region under Mughal control. But after his death in 1707, at Aurangabad in Deccan, they reasserted independence and succeeded in a short period. Apart from Deccan, Aurangzeb could expand Mughal power in Assam in the northeast region. The major success of the Mughals in this region was annexation of a home kingdom, Assam, under Mir Jumla, the governor of Bengal. Another notable achievement in northeast was capture of Chatgaon in 1664 under Shaista Khan, the new governor of Bengal. The Ahom kingdom could not be directly controlled for long. The Mughal Faujdars posted there had to face resistance and there were regular conflicts. By 1680 Ahoms succeeded in capturing Kamrup and Mughal control ended. 167. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. History. Establishment of the Mughal rule. INTEXT Question 10, 4-1. Who was the ruler from Deccan who defeated the Mughal forces under Jahangir? 2. The Mughals signed treaty with which of the two states of Deccan in 1636? 3. Which Mughal commander brought the Ahom kingdom under Mughal control? 4. With which of the Deccan powers Aurangzeb remained engaged for a long time? 10.5 Challenges to Mughal rule, conflicts and negotiations. Under Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire reached its greatest territorial limits and it covered almost the whole of present-day India. But his reign was marred by popular revolts of the Jats, Satnamis, Afghans, Sikhs and the Marathas. The Rajputs emerged as an important support base of the Mughals under Akbar, and later on under Jahangir and Shah Jahan. However, under Aurangzeb they started feeling alienated and gradually lost their position in administrative setup. The Marathas posed a major challenge to the sovereignty of the Mughals under Aurangzeb. Deccan states put up a stiff resistance against Mughal expansion plans. The northwest frontier region was also trouble spot and Mughals had to suppress disturbances. Thus we notice that in the process of the establishment and expansion of Mughal Empire the Mughals faced resistance and had to negotiate their way through diverse means and strategies. Here we will provide a brief discussion on all these issues. Rajputs Mewar was the only region in Rajputana that had not come under the Mughals during Akbar's time. Jahangir followed a persistent policy to capture it. After a series of conflicts, Rana Amar Singh finally agreed to accept Mughal suzerainty. All the territories taken from Mewar including the fort of Chittor were returned to Rana Amar Singh and a substantial Jagir was granted to his son Karan Singh. During the reigns of Jahangir and Shah Jahan, the Rajputs generally continued to be friendly with the Mughals and held very high mansabs. Shah Jahan relied upon Rajput soldiers for his campaigns in Deccan and the northwest. During the reign of Aurangzeb, the Mughal relations with Rajputs suffered, particularly over the issue of the successor to the throne of Marwar. Aurangzeb's interference in the succession dispute and his support to the rival candidate antagonized the Rajputs. His occupation of Jodhpur further put a dent on the Mughal-Rajput relation and the Rajputs gradually got alienated from Mughal rule. In fact, the absence of a powerful Rajput section in the nobility ultimately proved detrimental to the Mughal control of the peripheral areas, especially when it came to negotiating with the Marathas. Deccan during the last years of Akbar and early years of Jahangir, Ahmednagar under Malik Ambar started challenging Mughal power. Malik Amba succeeded in getting support of Bijapur also. A number of expeditions were sent by Jahangir but failed to achieve any success. During Shah Jahan's reign, Mughal conflict with the Deccan kingdoms of Ahmednagar, Bijapur and Golconda was revived. Ahmednagar was first to be 168 History. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Defeated and most of its territories were annexed into Mughal Empire. By 1636, Bijapur and Golconda were also defeated, but these kingdoms were not annexed to the Mughal Empire. After a treaty, the defeated rulers were to pay annual tributes and recognized Mughal authority. For almost 10 years Shah Jahan deputed his son Aurangzeb in the region. During Aurangzeb's reign, the struggle with Deccan state and Marathas became more intensive. In fact, Aurangzeb spent the last 20 years of his reign in Deccan fighting against them. By 1687, the Deccani kingdoms of Bijapur and Golconda were annexed to the Mughal Empire. However, the time and money spent in the Deccan by Aurangzeb proved a great drain on the Mughal Empire. The Marathas emerged in the Deccan as a vital force under Shivaji in the middle of the 17th century and began to challenge the Mughal authority. Shivaji started his offensive operations in 1656 and captured the Principality of Javli. After some time, Shivaji raided the Bijapur territory, and, in 1659, the Sultan of Bijapur sent his general, Afzal Khan, to capture Shivaji. But Shivaji was too clever for him, Afzal Khan, and killed him. Ultimately, in 1662, the Sultan of Bijapur entered into a peace settlement with Shivaji and acknowledged him as an independent ruler of his conquered territories. Shivaji now began to devastate the Mughal territories. Aurangzeb sent Shaista Khan, the viceroy of the Deccan, with a big army against Shivaji, and the Treaty of Purandar, 1665, was signed between the two. Out of the 35 forts held by Shivaji, he agreed to surrender 23 forts to the Mughals. The remaining 12 forts, with annual income of 1 lakh of Huns, were to be left with Shivaji. Shivaji was asked to pay a visit to the Mughal court at Agra. But, when Shivaji went there, he was ill-treated and was taken a prisoner. He managed to escape, reaching Raigarh in 1666. From then onwards, he waged a relentless struggle against the Mughals. Soon he conquered all the forts which he had surrendered to the Mughals. In 1670, he plundered Surat for the second time. In 1674, Shivaji made Raigarh his capital and celebrated his coronation, and assumed the title of Chhatrapati. Shortly after this, he made a great expedition into southern India and conquered Jinji Vellore and many forts in Karnataka. He died at Raigarh in 1680 after ruling for only 6 years. In this short time he founded the Maratha kingdom, which dominated western India for a century and a half. Shivaji's successor was his son Sambhaji. Many Maratha chiefs did not support Sambhaji and extended help to Rajaram, the other son of Shivaji. The internal conflict weakened Maratha power. Finally, Sambhaji was captured and put to death in 1689 by Aurangzeb. Sambhaji was succeeded by Rajaram as his son Sahu was still young. Rajaram died in 1700. He was succeeded by his minor son Shivaji III under the regency of Tarabai, his mother. The failure of Aurangzeb against the Marathas was largely due to Tarabai's energy and administrative genius. The Mughals, however, succeeded in dividing the Marathas into two rival camps, one under Tarabai and the other under Sambhaji's son, Sahu. Sahu, who for long was in the Mughal court, was released. He succeeded in deposing Tarabai with the help of a Chitpavan Brahman named Balaji Vishwanath. Northwest. Akbar had always considered the Kabul-Ghazni Kandhar line as the strategic frontier and therefore captured Kandhar in 1595. During the 17th century, the northwest frontier was the main area of activity of the Mughals. Here, the Roshane were decisively defeated by 1625-26, but Kandhar became a region of conflict between the Persians and Mughals. After Akbar's death, the Persians tried to capture Kandhar but failed under Shah Abbas I, the Safavid ruler. 169. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. History. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Following this, Shah Abbas I in 1620 requested Jahangir to hand over Kandhar to him, but the latter declined to do so. In 1622, after another attack, Kandhar was captured by the Persians. Under Shah Jahan, Kandhar once again came into the Mughal hands, but was recaptured by the Persians in 1649. The struggle to capture Kandahar continued till Aurangzeb's reign, but Mughals got little success. Shah Jahan's Balkh campaign to keep the Uzbeks tribe under control failed miserably, and the Mughals lost huge amount of money and men in the conflict. During the reign of Aurangzeb, the Kandhar issue was dropped and diplomatic relations with Persia were revived. It is quite evident that the territorial expansion of Mughal Empire achieved under Akbar continued to be the core of the empire. Its further expansion during Aurangzeb's reign was in Deccan and in small measure in northeast region. During his period The. Map 10.4 The Maratha Kingdom under Shivaji 170 History. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Mughal Empire had the largest area. However, the beginning of the decline of the Mughal Empire also could be traced to the rule of Aurangzeb. The breaking up of the association with the potent regional forces like the Rajputs and failing relationships with the Deccani states and Marathas shook the unity and stability of the Mughal Empire. Under his successors, the empire kept disintegrating. INTEXT Question 10.51. On what terms Shah Jahan established peace with Bijapur and Golconda? 2. What was Aurangzeb's policy towards Deccan? 3. Where was Shivaji coronated? What was the title that he took? 4. Which of the Mughal rulers lost huge amount of money in northwest frontier conflicts? What you have learnt. After the disintegration of the Delhi Sultanate, Babur was able to establish the Mughal Empire in India in 1526. It was both the circumstances in Central Asia and in India which played a major role in the foundation of the Mughal Empire. Before Babur could lay the foundation of the Mughal Empire, he had to fight many wars with local ruling kingdoms. He defeated Ibrahim Lodi at Panipat in 1526. Then he defeated one of the biggest forces in North India, Rana Sanga, in 1527. After Babur's death in 1530, his son Humayun succeeded him. When Humayun was busy in Gujarat, Sher Shah started consolidating himself in Bihar and Bengal and moved towards Agra. Humayun was defeated in the Battle of Kannauj in 1540 and Sher Shah was able to establish the Second Afghan Empire, which continued from 1540 to 1555. However, in 1555 Humayun was again successful in capturing Agra, Delhi and other lost territories from the Afghans and re-established the Mughal rule. After Humayun's sudden death, Akbar became the emperor at a tender age of 13 and Bahram Khan was made the regent. Akbar followed a policy of expansion after consolidating his hold on throne. He won over the Rajput kingdoms to his side either through matrimonial alliances or by invading the territories. He brought Gujarat, Bihar, Bengal, Punjab and the whole of northwest under the Mughal control. He also annexed Ahmednagar, Berar, Burhanpur, Asisgarh etc. in the Deccan. Jahangir also followed the expansionist policy in the Deccan. But he could not get much success here and lost few of the territories. Shah Jahan was able to take control of Bijapur and Golconda in 1636. Aurangzeb also followed an aggressive policy in the Deccan and remained involved in conflict with the Marathas for most of his rule. Under Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire reached its greatest territorial limits. Ironically, the decline of the Mughal Empire also began under Aurangzeb. There was a breakup of the association with regional forces like the Rajputs and the Marathas. 171. Module 2 Medieval India. Notes. History. Establishment of the Mughal rule. Terminal questions 1. Trace the establishment of the Mughal rule in India under Babur. 2. Who was Akbar's regent? Who were the major political powers in India in the initial years of Akbar's rule? 3. How did Akbar establish Mughal supremacy in the Deccan? 4. How was Aurangzeb's policy towards Rajputs different from Akbar? 5. How did Aurangzeb face the Marathas? Answers to INTEXT questions 10.1. 1. Babur invaded India because he was facing tough situations in Central Asia. The unstable political situation in India also played a role. 2. Babur effectively applied the Rumi, Ottoman, method of warfare. 3. Problems faced by Babur. His nobles and commanders were eager to return to Central Asia. B. The Rajputs were rallying around under the leadership of Rana Sanga. 1. Rana Sanga and Medini Rai 10.2. 1. Humayun failed to defeat Sher Shah because his brother Hindal Mirza, who was supposed to provide supplies for his army, declared his independence. 2. Sher Khan was a great tactician and able military commander. After defeating Humayun, he emerged as the leader of the Afghans. 3. A. Malwa. B. Rajputana. C. Sindh. D. Punjab. A. Bengal. 4. A. He streamlined local administration at Sarkar and Pargana level. B. He built Grand Trunk Road. 10.3. 1. Akbar removed Bahram Khan because he had assumed full control and was behaving independently. 2.